Wishes and Desires, Paris, May 1891. When the beaded curtain parts with a sound like rain, it is Margot who enters the fortune-teller's chamber, and Isobel immediately flips her veil from her face, the impossibly thin black silk floating back over her head like mist. "What are you doing here?" she asks. "Why didn't you tell me about this?" Ignoring her question, he holds out an open notebook. In the flickering light, Isobel can discern a bare black tree. It is not like the trees that are inscribed in so many of his books. This one is covered in dripping white candles. Surrounding the main drawing are detailed sketches of twisting branches, capturing several different angles. "That's the wishing tree," Isobel says. "It's new." "I know it's new," Margot says. "Why didn't you tell me about it?" "I haven't had time to write you," Isobel says, "and I wasn't even sure whether or not it was something you had done yourself. It seemed like something you might have made. It's lovely, the way wishes are added to it, by lighting candles with ones that are already lit and adding them to the branches. New wishes ignited by old wishes." "It's hers," Margot says simply, pulling the notebook back. "How can you be certain?" Isobel asks. Margot pauses, looking down at the sketch, annoyed that he could not properly capture the beauty of the thing in hastily rendered drawings. "I can feel it," he says. "It is like knowing that a storm is coming, the shift in the air around it. As soon as I walked into the tent, I could sense it, and it is stronger closer to the tree itself. I am not certain it would be perceptible if one were unfamiliar with such sensation." "Do you think she can feel what you do in the same way?" Isobel asked. Margot had not considered this before, though it seems it would be true. He finds the idea strangely pleasing. "I do not know," is all he says to Isobel. Isobel pushes the veil that is slipping over her face back behind her head again. "Well," she says, "now you know about it, and you can do whatever you want to it." "It doesn't work that way," Margot says. "I cannot use anything she does for my own purposes. The sides need to remain separate. If we were playing a game of chess, I could not simply remove her pieces from the board. My only option is to retaliate with my own pieces when she moves hers." "But there can't possibly be an endgame then," Isobel says. "How can you checkmate a circus? It doesn't make any sense." "It's not like chess," Margot says, struggling to explain something that he has finally begun to understand even though he cannot properly articulate it. He glances at her table where a few cards remain laid face up, one in particular catching his attention. "It's like this," he says, pointing at the woman with her scales and sword. "La Justice" inscribed below her feet. It's a set of scales. One side is mine, the other is hers. A set of silver scales appears on the table between the cards, balancing precariously, each side piled with diamonds that sparkle in the candlelight. "So the object is to tip the scales in your favor?" Isobel asks. Margot nods, turning the pages of his notebook. He keeps flipping back to the page with the tree. "But if you both keep adding to your sides of the scale, increasing the weight on each side in turn," Isobel says, watching the gently swaying scale, "won't it break?" "I do not believe it is an exact comparison," Margot says, and the scales vanish. Isobel frowns at the empty space. "How long is this going to go on?" she asks. "I have no idea," Margot says. "Do you want to leave?" he adds, looking up at her, unsure of what response he wants to the question. "No," Isobel says. I don't want to leave. I like it here. I do. But I would also like to understand. Maybe if I understood better, I could be more helpful." "You are helpful," Margot says. "Perhaps the only advantage I have is that she does not know who I am. She only has the circus to react to, and I have you to watch her." "But I haven't seen any reaction," Isobel protests. "She keeps to herself. She reads more than anyone I have ever met. The Murray twins adore her. She has been nothing but kind to me. I I have never seen her do a single thing out of the ordinary beyond when she performs. You say she is making all these moves, and yet I never see her do anything. How do you know that tree is not Ethan Barris's work?
Mr. Barris creates impressive mechanics, but this is not his doing. Though she embellished his carousel, I'm certain of that. I doubt even an engineer of Mr. Barris's talent can make a painted wooden griffin breathe. That tree is rooted in the ground. It is a living tree, even if it does not have leaves. Marco turns his attention back to his sketch, tracing the lines of the tree with his fingertips. Did you make a wish? Isobel asks, quietly. Marco closes his notebook without answering the question. Does she still perform on the quarter hour? He asks, drawing a watch from his pocket. Yes, but you're going to sit there and watch her show? Isobel asks. There's barely room for 20 people in her tent. She'll notice you. Won't she think it's strange that you're here? She won't even recognize me, Marco says. The watch vanishes from his hand. Whenever there is a new tent, I would appreciate it if you'd let me know. He turns and walks away, moving so quickly that the candle flames shiver with the motion of the air. I miss you, Isobel says as he leaves, but the sentiment is crushed by the clatter of the beaded curtain falling closed behind him. She tugs the black mist of her veil back down over her face. After the last of her clients have departed in the early hours of the morning, Isobel takes her Marseilles deck from her deck. She carries it with her always, though she has a separate deck for circus readings, custom-made version in black and white and shades of gray. From the Marseilles deck she draws a single card. She knows which it will be before she turns it over. The angel emblazoned on the front is only a confirmation of what she already suspects. She does not return it to the deck.